Before 1941, Hawaii was a peaceful American territory. The tropical islands were a big tourist attraction. They were home to beautiful beaches, surfers, huge volcanoes, and many of America's military bases. After December 7, 1941, the Hawaiian Islands changed the fate of Japanese Americans. The bombing of Pearl Harbor, a military base on Oahu, caused this dramatic change. The Empire of Japan, an Axis power in World War II, attacked Pearl Harbor on this infamous day. Unfortunately, the violent assault sparked racist ideas towards Japanese Americans. Americans started to believe that anyone of Japanese descent was related with the Japanese military, even if they were born in the United States. The paranoia and prejudice of the American citizens and government was put into full throttle after Pearl Harbor. Not only were the Japanese discriminated against, but people of German and Italian ancestry as well. On February 19, 1942, President Franklin Roosevelt demanded that Executive Order 9066 was to be put into place. This command forced all people of Japanese descent living on the West Coast into concentration camps placed across the country. There were no reported acts of espionage by any Japanese Americans on the West Coast, therefore all the prisoners were innocent. Approximately 120,000 people were relocated, most of those being children. Families were plucked from their homes and ordered into camps throughout the United States, such as Topaz in Utah and Tule Lake in California. Most of the people being interned had never even stepped foot in Japan, calling America their homeland. Even Nisei, people of Japanese ancestry who were born in America, were forced into these camps along with the immigrant generation Issei. This belligerent, harsh law made the Japanese people question their futures. How would they run their businesses? How would they go to school? The ignorance and paranoia towards them blinded American officials and some citizens of the United States. People started believing in the bigoted American propaganda. Some Japanese Americans even served for the U.S. in World War II as their own families were being interned, showing unconditional respect for their country. Despite their loyalty to the United States, their lives were still frozen in time behind barbed wire fences. Sand Island, a temporary camp on Oahu, was opened in 1942. The camp laid on a small island off the coast of Honolulu, holding Japanese Americans from Hawaii. At first, the prisoners were forced to live in minuscule beige tents that lacked a floor. Later, barracks were built. Sand Island also held people of German ancestry. The prisoners could work for a measly 10 cents an hour if they chose to. The dreadful camp was closed in 1943. On March 1, 1943, Honouliuli was opened in Sand Island's wake. The camp was located in a gulch on inland Oahu, therefore the surroundings were dry and barren. The prisoners and their families reluctantly located yet again to Honouliuli. Just as some of the prisoners thought that they would never be able to return home again, the camp was closed in 1945. Even though most interns were allowed to leave, some were moved to mainland camps. All camps were closed in 1946. In 1988, the Civil Liberties Act was passed by Congress. This act stated that anyone who was interned would be paid $20,000 in reparations. It was a step forward in their fight for justice. No payment can make up for those lost years. What is most important in this bill has less to do with property than with honor, for here we admit wrong. Ronald Reagan. The campsite of Honouliuli was forgotten for a very long time. It was recently rediscovered in 2002 while scholars were uncovering information about Japanese internment. Starting in 2010, there has been a pilgrimage back to Honouliuli for anyone who is interested. Often, surviving prisoners and their family members participate in the pilgrimage. The participants scatter flower petals all over the site to remember the horrific things that happened there. Although the site is now covered in tall grasses and trees, the sorrow can still be felt.